Check, check. Yeah, we in the building. 1, 2. Check. Yeah, one night just in the building. We here. Everybody hang out. Got the countdown clock going. 67 at gmail.com. Yeah, make sure you get your watch party started. Ignore the reset on the clock. We're popping off in about 2 minutes. Okay, let me get everybody comfortable. All right. So I'm going to hit the button, y'all. And the camera. Okay, maybe that didn't work. Oh, there you go. Hey, Saundrea. You got the screen? I still got it. Do me one favor. Yeah. There you go. Hey. All right. Yeah, we hear y'all. Uh-huh. What a day, what a day. I got to talk about some stuff, too. Some stuff is on my mind. Get your watch party started. Mic, monitor the sound from an external source. Make sure we sounding good. I'm going to crack the mic stand. You in the house?
Yes, sir. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Saundrea Coleman, you in the house?
I'm here.
Special guest, you in the house?
I'm here.
Cool. You can move forward towards the microphone a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Hey.
To my ladies out there, tell a man at the wheels and steels, ladies first. Ladies first.
Word up. What up, Kim in the building?
All right.
Claudia Perez, CC in the building. I seen you. Yeah, it's nice to see everybody. We got 7 people in the building
Thank you for tuning in.
right now. Right, some of y'all just text. Let me know that you're here. Once again, I see CC. She's here. It's good to see her. She's running too. She's doing really well from what I understand. Yeah. And I'm going to hit the button and we're going to start the show. 1, 2, 3, and bomb. All right, so we're going to welcome you once again to the One Night Show, right? It's another Sunday. We started today at 4 o'clock. Let me make sure. That's probably me with my phone turned
I'm
up,
like, I'm
you
here
know.
somebody.
No,
You.
I don't adhere to the rules. I got to work on my rule thing. So, yeah. So, then welcome to the One Night Show. We're doing it again this Sunday. And you know what? I want to talk about something real quick. I just want to bring something up that, you know, about this COVID situation in terms of the vaccine. You know, there's a lot of misinformation being spread on the internet about it, you know, and that's not really helping the situation. You know, if you choose not to take the vaccine, like I've chosen not to take the vaccine, I'm not trying to convince people not to take the vaccine. I'm making a personal choice to not take the vaccine based on my beliefs. I've never, number one, believed in vaccinations. Let me just start with that. So I've always been skeptical with it. But there's a video going around, and I was going to play it, but I didn't have time to edit it together, of a nurse that fainted after taking the vaccine. She took it, she was in Chicago, she gets shot, she stands up, she's starting to talk, and then all of a sudden she collapses. Well, on the internet, they have interpreted that, they put the title that she collapsed because of the vaccine. That's what they did. And that's not what happened.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? But y'all are circulating that misinformation, and that ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? That's not helping the cause. It's not fun. It's not cool. It's not right. And it'll cost people lives. You understand what I'm saying? So y'all got to stop that. Because then when you go to YouTube and you see that she comes on and she says, listen, I suffer from a condition, and I know this is a real condition because I've had to deal with it, that if she receives a certain amount of stimulation in terms of pain, she faints, right? It's called a vagal response. A vagal response is can be triggered by you laughing too much. You can laugh so hard. You ever heard somebody say, I died laughing? Right. Okay. What happens is you can laugh so much, it triggers a vagus response in your body, and it slows your heart rate down to the point that you pass out, right? Well, some people suffer from this as a painful stimuli. So her getting the shot was painful. She went up to make the speech, and then she passed out. I just want to be clear. She did not pass out because she took the vaccine. That's not what happened. So, once again, y'all guys got to stop doing that, man, because that's whack.
But that's what people do. They
Yeah.
sensationalize it, and they want us to not take it, especially people of color, you know, just to scare us.
Listen, if you don't want
to,
if you don't want to take it, cool. I'm with you. You know what I'm
like
saying?
a vasal?
It's called a vasovagal maneuver.
Right. Okay.
Right, and sometimes we deliberately do that to you. An episode.
Right.
Syncope.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and sometimes we deliberately do that to you
adrenaline.
on the ambulance or whatever. We'll slow your heart rate down by triggering a vagal episode to slow your heart rate down. So it's real. You know what I'm saying? I know it's real. It's a treatment. So y'all got to stop that. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to say that. What's going on with you this week?
Wow.
Saundrea, the activist.
Okay. All right. Okay.
On you.
Greetings all. My week was amazing and busy. So Tuesday I was featured in the Public Advocates Rollout for the Worst Landlord, and that was really cool. And as we know, Nycha is always number one and in a category by itself. And I also participated in their presser that day as well, their press conference. I was on that. And that was really good, a virtual press conference. It got a lot of media attention and stuff like that. So, and it's good for people to see what's going on in public housing as well as the other slumlords. But I did say that basically any other landlord would be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So I said that on it, and anybody can view the full presser. It's out there, and the little video clips they shared. Wednesday, I was with Stan and some other people, and I spoke at a no rezoning presser.
No racist rezoning.
Right,
presser.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but, you
gotta say it.
Well, it was a no rezoning. If you call it racist or whatever you want to call it, my narrative. But I was able to tie into that the Nycha infill process, right? The proposals that they do in the rezoning, and how it's a legal land grab. So that was good, and I was reminded people about Seneca Village, how that they used eminent domain to take the land, and there was a lot of prospering blacks out there as well as others out there. So we just had to see history repeats itself basically. And then on Friday, we had UES for BLM had our 200th day, so give us some.
Yes, wow.
With our 200th day, I was the MC, and we had Eleanor Bumpers, which is the great granddaughter of the late Eleanor Bumpers, was our speaker.
That's amazing.
So that was just for her to come out and just share with us was just it was a moment for real. And then yesterday we the Homes Isaac Coalition, which I'm one of the co-founders of, we partnered with 3 faith-based entities, organizations, and we gave out 210 boxes of food to residents of Isaac houses and Holmes Towers.
Great.
And for me as a minister, serving is what I do. So that was my week. It was amazingly great.
Wow, dope.
That's a lot.
That's a lot you went through that you did.
Yeah.
Quick question: Did John Johnson die from Channel 7?
I don't know.
Because that just popped up in the chat room. That John Johnson from Channel. It says "Sleep in Peace, John Johnson."
Wow.
Claudia sent that, and I'm assuming that's
I know
That's tragic.
I know somebody, resident council president, passed away.
Yeah, just
a while
I guess
back.
I'll verify that while you guys are chatting up. I just want to make sure it's not John Johnson.
Yeah.
It might be.
and-
Check. Just ask them.
Yeah. I just Claudia, can you just verify like which John Johnson we talking about on that? Oh, Stan, what has your week been like, brother?
Yes, as always, it's been a very busy week for me as well. I want to give a big shout out to my man Sugar Ray. We're going to be in Queensbridge this coming Friday on Christmas Day.
All right.
With a DJ and giving out toys and really serving the community in that way. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
We had a great talk with Senator Mike Gianaris, state senator, about the blueprint. So Mike says that he's against it, which is great. And he's the state Senate majority leader.
Okay.
So he has a lot of influence, hopefully, to have other state senators vote against it, and we can actually defeat this bill. So I'm very excited about that, because that's critical. We do not want the privatization of Nycha. We do not want the blueprint. The blueprint is a scam and a scheme, the latest that Nycha's putting out to uproot folks from their homes. So we really want to defeat this plan. So I'm excited that there's a path forward to do that. And also was on a call with some folks from NYCHA in regards to in Ravenswood, the pilot program. Once again, NYCHA's trying to say that they're doing a great job. They were on there quoting statistics about this and stats about that. When I know personally, I went down with several residents, to the manager's office, and I saw that the treatment was pretty much the same. So I know Carol Wilkins, if you're looking and watching, I had to just speak out and tell the truth. Definitely not trying to be disrespectful to a resident council president, but the truth has to come out. And we cannot have NYCHA saying something and it's not true. So hopefully the program works and works better. It's not working that great in Queensbridge either, and nor is it working that great in Astoria. So we're going to keep the pressure on and make sure that this program does work so folks can get the repairs they need in their apartments. So it's been a busy week. And of course, still running for Queensborough president, which is, as I'm saying to my friend over here, is quite a challenge. Quite a challenge. I got to go home today actually and do some questionnaires, for endorsements. And I feel like I'm back in school now. I got to do research and really answer these questions. So I'll be very busy after the show today to get that endorsement out.
Cool. I just want to report that John Johnson is alive and well. However, the John Johnson that we're talking about, that Claudia's talking about, I think is who you were talking about, our Section 3 influencer, past president of co-op in the Bronx. Okay. So we're talking about that John Johnson. Okay. So Eyewitness News, John Johnson still kicking.
I just want to also, because I totally, and I don't want to forget it, a big shout out to Congresswoman Carol Maloney. They emailed me and asked me to come pick up some toys, 4 huge garbage bags full of toys for the residents of Homes Isaac Coalition. So I'll talk about that later in the closing. But I just wanted to,
And now that we've gone around the square table, drum roll, please. I don't have a drum roll anymore. Special guest, please let them know who you are and what we're talking about.
Who you are.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brent O'Leary, and I want to thank Nycha. Appreciate you for having me down here. We love the show, and thanks for keeping the voice of the people out there.
Absolutely.
So I'm actually did the dumb move like this man right here and decided to run for office. So I signed up for it, so I won't complain. But it's great. It's what I want to do. It's community service. So I'm running right now to be the city council member for the 26th district, which is Long Island City, Sunnyside, Woodside, and a little bit of Astoria. So, and I'm doing this because I've always been about community service, as me and Stan go way back. But for, the last 12 years, I've been involved with Woodside on the Move. I founded the Hunters Point Civic Association. We're on the steering committee now, Justice for All. But that's what it's about, and that's what politics should be about, is community service.
Right, 100%. Wow. So what was your inspiration to get you engaged in this,
I have to say it's
And have you run for office before?
Yes, I actually ran 10 years ago.
Okay.
For what seat?
For this seat.
Okay.
I lost to Jimmy Van Bremer.
Okay.
Go for Jimmy Van Bremer.
No. The reason I asked because some people have been in the office and maybe one term and ran again. So that's why I wanted to make sure the people know. Okay.
So I just dedicated myself to community service since that time.
Wow.
So Woodside on the Move, we put the after-school programs in a number of the schools around the neighborhood. We're also big into tenants' rights advocacy now. So we actually serve 4,000 people a year to help stop them from getting eviction, help them fight for their rights. And then we do senior programming. And then I run the Hunters Point Civic Association down the street, where we fought against overdevelopment, make sure when these developers come in, we get the infrastructure that we need. You can't just come in and build 70-story houses and not have a school, have the sewer systems overflowing. Right. Basically a community has got to have everything it was. And we've been run over for the last 10 years.
And which community you're in? Where are you at?
So Hunters, it's right around, it's in Long Island City, right around Vernon Jackson Station.
Okay.
Yeah, the traditional name is called Hunters Point.
Right. Yeah, that's a train stop, right?
So I gotta ask the question of all that we ask all elected officials or people trying to run for office. So are you taking any money from real estate interests, revenue, corporate, anything like that? Are you a grassroots campaign, or are you receiving funds from any of those folks?
I have to say I'm proud. I'm the first candidate for this district to refuse all real estate developer money. I don't know if that's in history. I know it's definitely for this district, but I've also refused all money from lobbyists, corporations, PACs, and fossil fuel.
So there goes the question: how will you finance your campaign? I'm new to this political arena, right? So I'm realizing some of the pitfalls of doing this thing, and that it's hard, you know what I'm saying, to raise money. So how are you navigating that without taking money?
Yeah, so I've reached out to people in the community who've seen what I've done over the years. Of course, friends. But I do have to say we are lucky that in the city council they have the best campaign finance law. So they do match any donation you get from a New York City resident 8-1.
Yes.
So I actually the matching just came out. And there's only 3 candidates who received the matching funds in this race so far, the first distribution.
Okay.
So myself and 2 people, and I'm the one who has the most money in the bank now.
Wait, hold the horses.
Yep.
When you say only 3, is this throughout the city or just
No,
Queens?
just
This
in
district?
that district.
Okay, all right.
And
Just wanted to be sure.
Right, and just for the first distribution.
Right,
So
okay,
more people can get it later.
Okay, because
Right,
there's a
right,
whole lot of people. I was
Yeah.
like, well,
And
hey,
so,
okay.
so Brent, can you tell how many folks are running for city council in this district?
In this district, we have 20. I think we're hitting the
Yeah.
record.
Yeah. It's
My
incredible.
blurb was like, it's a hot seat.
Yeah.
Right? It's a
Well,
hot
People
seat.
want change. People want change.
Yeah.
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 And it's a great neighborhood. It's one of the most diverse places in the world.
Yep.
So it's actually where my grandparents immigrated to 80 years ago. And then where my father grew up, went to public school. I was born down the street in Jackson Heights. And but my father, he was working poor. He was a union member. He said, they went on strike. They'd have to ration their food. They didn't know where their next meal was coming from. So this is how I grew up. And for me, I was only able. He only got to go to college because he went into the Navy, so
Okay,
he got the
right.
GI Bill.
Right.
And then I was only able to go to college because I got financial aid.
Right.
So and then I actually went to law school on financial aid also.
Okay.
So
So you're a regular guy.
yeah, I've been working since I was 12. I've been
Right,
a busboy, waiter.
You're working class.
Yeah, I'm working class. I'm proud of that.
So
Yeah, that's great.
you say you're a lawyer. What type of practice?
Mainly I did business and finance.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the strange things is when I was in college, I decided to start studying Japanese. And I just thought it was a cool language, and I ended up learning it. So when I came out in New York and put my resume on the street, I got these calls from law firms, and they said, "You really speak Japanese?" And I said, "Yeah." They said, "We're sending you to Tokyo." So I did my first 9 years of practice in Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah.
different.
Oh wow, that is.
I know that. Okay, that's different.
Wow.
When did you become a lawyer?
So that was 97.
Yeah. So you got to remember during that time, Japan economically was really coming into its own.
Yeah.
They were doing a lot of business in the United States. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you were spot on. It's like that's dope. Wow.
Yeah, the law firm said, we have customers and we can't speak to them. So I said, okay, I'll come over and do that. And it was just an amazing experience. You're living in a country with, the language is different, the cultures are different. So, and I just think, a kid from Jackson Heights ends up, from throwing boxes around in the, to traveling all through Asia and writing contracts and negotiating and doing deals. So, I've always thought I've been really blessed, and that's part of it. I want to make sure every single person in this district has those same chances.
Wow.
So is anybody aware of a new voting system? CC put in the room. Why isn't anyone preparing voters for the new voting system?
Let's talk about it now.
Ranked choice
So that's
voting.
ranked choice.
That
Right,
was
right.
my question.
Okay,
too.
so
How do you feel?
and now
I wanted
it's
to
so
ask-
important
Yeah.
in this district
Yeah.
because you got so many people
I
and
just
great
had
people. I
that
know
question
Brent.
about
I know
I'm
quite a
serious,
few of
like
them.
right here.
Oh wow.
And so,
I was gonna ask.
how do you think ranked choice voting will affect this race since there's so many people running?
I'm sorry, what is ranked choice voting?
That's the rest of the
Wait, so
question. You answer the question.
Explain it. Yeah,
Sure.
what it is first.
So the old style is first past the post. So basically, everybody can run, and the one who has the most votes wins.
Okay.
This one, you can't win without 50%. So basically, everybody runs, and if that first person doesn't have 50%, they knock off the person with the least votes. And those people, their second choice, gets redistributed to the person they voted for. And you keep doing that and keep knocking off people with the least votes and redistributing their votes until one person has 50%.
Oh wow.
Well, I didn't know that particular detail of it.
Do you like it though? I mean, doesn't it change? It's a game changer, though, isn't it?
It is. It's been tried in other places, and I do, because it means you really have to have support from the whole neighborhood. You can't just
Right.
be in your neighborhood and get a lot of support, and
Right.
with if you have 20 people, the person with the most votes may only have 5%.
Right.
So how do you say you represent the neighborhood when you only started with 5%?
Right,
So
right.
to be clear, is it like your first, second, and third choice? Is it
You get
like,
up to 5.
You get to 5. You get up to 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so District 26,
Right.
right? Because we have 5 people running in District 5, but
Yeah.
with District 26,
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how that's going to work out.
Yeah.
You know, it's very, very, very interesting.
I think it. You know what I think it eliminates too. Do you know when they do that? When you get candidates that they're just there to kind of like take away from the lead. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
they're just there.
I'm not going to
Split,
even call
to
it.
split your
but-
vote, yeah.
Yeah. Let's just split the vote. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like the idea that
Right.
you know what if one candidate is strong, that phenomenon can't happen. You know what I'm saying? If you
Right.
ain't got the 50, all you're doing is giving them to him anyway.
Yep, exactly.
So I kind of like that.
But one thing probably because a lot of people are not aware of it, so
Right.
they might just go in and vote for their main person, and then it doesn't. The other people how they don't down
Right.
ballot with
Right.
regular
So,
elections.
do you
So-
think that the community knows enough about it? I know there's a push to stop it. So do you think that we're aware of it and
No.
how to do it?
No, a lot
I
of
mean, the
people
government's done a really bad job of getting the
Yeah.
information out. I mean,
Okay.
me as a candidate, we're going to do our own thing.
You have to.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I actually, I've talked to one of the guys on my staff who's good at videos, and we're going to make the video in 6 different languages.
Yeah,
So,
it needs
yeah.
to be explained because
Yeah.
it's if people do not vote down. You said it's 5.
Right.
I mean, because I have a number 1 and a number 2, so I gotta now. I mean, but then you don't have to, right?
You don't. You can only do 1, you can do 2, you can do 3.
So that's the tricky part of
Yes.
it.
Yes.
So maybe we ought to do a show just on that. A show to really
I think so.
educate the public. 'Cause this is really big and it changes the whole game. So people need to really know.
I think that'd be a
what
great
it's
show.
And it's for all city offices. So this will be for the mayor.
Right. For mine as well. Yeah.
Comptroller. I don't think the public advocate. There was one that was.
Maybe not. I can know. I got to do my research, but maybe.
Yeah. For you, Queensborough president, yes.
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a
So
game changer.
in your it's a game changer. I mean, I'm really digging it.
Well, I think I'm for it to some extent.
I'm kind of like you know what it makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like it.
Why should that?
I'm not running
Why,
my own.
why should those votes be just gone? You know what I'm saying? It should be redistributed. You know what I'm saying? Like that guy that got 5%.
It's a boost. It's a boost.
That guy that got 5% is just he's out of here.
Press the boost button. That's what
Right.
it is.
So,
With
so
boosting.
he's out, and then his votes goes to the first place or the second place person.
Yes.
So that's how it goes.
Let them. Yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
But I mean, whoever is at the least, once you've knocked them out, then they look and say, well, who's their second choice? So now that's the thing is your vote always counts. It always goes in. It just, if your first choice is knocked out, it gets reallocated to your second choice.
Okay, so hold on, wait. I heard something interesting. So what you're saying
like
is
it.
I got 1, 2, 3, right? And I can vote like you're my first choice, you're my second choice, and you're my third choice.
Yep.
Is that what's happening?
Why
Yeah.
gotta be a
Like I
third
vote for
choice?
3
Right.
people.
Why
You
gotta
don't
be a
have
third
to.
choice?
You don't have to. You can go up to 5.
You
I'm
can-
just saying, okay, and I do 5, right?
Yeah.
And then whoever is the least strong candidate
No.
then gets bumped up to my first choice. Is that what you're saying?
No, so if your candidate, the one that you voted for number 1, if he's, out of the top 5, so he's like the weakest,
Right.
he's knocked
He's
out of the
eliminated.
competition.
Right.
Now then they look at your vote again. They say, okay, well his person is out. So who do you want number 2?
Right.
And then they take it and add to that person's total.
Oh, yeah, that's very interesting.
It is interesting.
It's game.
Ooh, that is a game changer.
I
We're
don't
going to have to do a
like
whole
it.
show on that.
I don't like it.
Well,
I, don't
I
like it.
guess for a candidate like myself, I'm running against somebody that has he's more established, so my thinking is that it would be a benefit, to a candidate that may not be as well known or established. I guess we're going to soon find out, but, that's how I'm looking at it, to a certain extent.
Well, apparently it's a big thing because in the chat room, it's all lit up. I mean, Claudia Perez, Cece, she says it's better for us. She's like, yes. I guess somebody said something cool. Tamika L. Map, that's a good idea about rank choice voting. A good show to do. We need to educate the people. That's
Absolutely.
what Kim says.
Yeah.
More into the RCV. Okay. Oh, okay. Tamika put up a link that you guys can click on to see what's going on. You just can't
Thank
cater
you,
to your
Tamika.
base. Yep. Cece said you just can't cater to your base, and that's kind of what's going on in the chat room. Chat room's busy on
right.
this.
Yeah.
subject on something that I didn't even know was even going on.
I mean, like I said, I have a 1 and a 2. And I told the number 2, you my number 2.
Right.
You know, so, you know, but yeah, I mean, it becomes a factor, but the 3, 4, 5, I'm not really, you know, a fan of. So I don't know if I'm going to vote down.
One of the interesting things is a theory that this will make people do less negative campaigning.
Yeah.
Because if you start yelling or saying things about your opponent, then you're not going to get the number 2 or the number 3.
Right.
So we'll see.
Right.
Hopefully,
It's method to the madness.
you got to change it.
But people have to vote. They have to vote.
Exactly.
But you got to get out and vote.
Yeah.
That's kind of, it only works if you vote. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
So tell me, I mean, what are some of the things that are going on in your neighborhood where you're representing? Obviously the Nycha thing, but besides that, how's school going? How's, you know,
Well, that's
I mean,
the
how
thing
are policing?
Right.
How's all that happening in your
We
neighborhood?
don't have the schools. So, I mean, one of the things to remember is when they came down and said there's not enough schools, we're going to bus your kids out of the neighborhood.
Right.
And they were talking about like kindergarten kids. You know,
wow.
like, so we're talking like really young. So, you know, nobody wants to have to, you know, get on a bus for your kid, especially you want it somewhere you can walk to. If they get sick, there's all that stuff. And at the same time, they tell us that there's not enough schools in the neighborhood. They're selling the Department of Education building to private developers for development. We said, how is this possible?
Right.
So you have no schools in your neighborhood?
No, we have schools, but there's just not enough. I think Long Island City is the fastest growing neighborhood in the country for the last 3 years.
And you have the least amount of schools.
Right. So, and there's a lot of young families moving in.
Okay.
So it's coming down the road, and then we spotted this, area of public land, and we're saying, why don't you change that into stuff for the public? So as he knows, I've been involved in that Annabelle Basin fight.
Sure.
And I think it's just an amazing opportunity because it also ties both of our neighborhoods together. You know, it's right there on 44th Drive. The Department of Education building is 750,000 square feet. You know, if we could change that into a teen center, a cultural center, there's so many things that we can do with that land, and it's public land.
Right.
So, you know, I've been over the 10 years saying, you know, public land for public use. You know, that's one of the big fights, and that's why REMBY, the Real Estate Board of New York, is one of the largest contributors to political campaigns in the city.
Say that again. Because people need to know that. Because really, once you take their money, then you are bought off.
Exactly.
And you are just, you're done. You're doing their bidding.
Right. So, I mean, the real estate is the big game here, and that's why they contribute to everybody, and that's why certain bills just can't get out.
And they actually threaten candidates. I've been told that.
Yeah.
You know, they're threatening people now, saying that if you don't do this, I'm going to either not fund your campaign or I'll fund your competitor. Right. And they're telling people that directly, so.
I'm listening to Brent, and I'm a visionary and stuff like that. So, but I'm listening to him and I really see you. I see you already as elected. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Just the way, just the knowledge. You've been out there, because there's a lot of people running for office. I mean, Stan's been doing community service. I'm not running for anything at the moment. I'm out there. There's people that are not out there, but they're out there now because they're running for office.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So at least you could be vetted. You done did the work. Right. So, yeah.
And that's what I respect. And especially, in different communities, they say don't only show up at election time.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You got to show up all the time. And, and show what you've done and work on the record.
Yeah.
Because anybody can come out and say nice flowery things once they ran for office. 100%. But you got to show that track record that you've been there when the times were difficult.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially now, right now is needed. Our community is hurting. So I must say, I know Brent does a lot of mutual aid work. So can you let folks know some of the work you're doing, the food pantries and just all that work?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. So when COVID hit, I mean, I already knew about the food insecurity crisis. I was doing food drives for the last 7 years. But no, I knew it was going to. I knew we were to another level. So it was funny. I called up this Pastor Dan Sadler, who runs the Mosaic Church on 43rd Street, and I said, "You've closed down your place for the service." He said, "Yeah, for COVID." I said, "Can I run a food pantry?" And he said, "Sure." He gave me the keys, and it's been going for 8 months now.
Beautiful.
We get 1,500 people a week.
You give them the beat,
and we deliver. I think we've given groceries to now 70,000 people. It's just
you get the beat on that, bro.
Thank you. But I do have to get credit, even though it's my idea and I started it.
Yeah.
There's so many people from the neighborhood came, helped, took boxes out of trucks, donated. So it's really a community effort.
But it's leadership, right? So
True.
somebody has to spearhead it. Somebody has to have the vision,
Right.
the desire to do it. I mean,
No leader does it on his own. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
right. But you still
there's always a
need,
team.
you still need somebody.
The
with that
leader
vision.
leads, and then we
Yeah.
divvy out.
So that's
right?
good,
We go,
yeah.
okay, well, you do this, you do that, you
Yeah.
do this, you do that, and everybody brings the dream or the idea into
Yeah.
fruition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't do it on our own. None of us
Exactly.
do.
So
So,
let me ask you this question. So what do you think about the plans to privatize Nycha? And as a city council person, I know a lot of them are very quiet, when it comes to this issue. So will you be outspoken as far as the Nycha issue and keeping Nycha public instead of private?
100%. I've been against RAD for a long time. It's a scam. And I just said, I'm a lawyer. I've done finance. I know how these things work. Nycha is a good program as long as it's funded and as long as the proper repairs are done. But of course, Long Island City, the real estate prices went crazy, and now all of a sudden they're interested in privatizing.
Oh, yeah.
They're here for the money. They're not here for the community. And once they get in, you can't get them out.
Yeah.
Right.
So, even looking at that blueprint one, they're going to issue bonds
Right.
to
Yeah.
private investors. Okay. Now, who's going to pay that?
Right.
And then if you don't pay those bonds, those are held by private investors, so then they foreclose, and then guess what? Then they own it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, sometimes, I won't say the devil's in the details, but
Yes, yes, it is.
Because they don't mention that part.
backroom
The devil
They
is in the
don't- I
details.
think Greg
A
Russ is on the
backroom
show. He
deal.
doesn't mention it. He
Yeah.
doesn't even acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And it's. I mean, that's a basic fact. If you don't pay it off,
Right.
it's foreclosed on, like any other real estate.
And
Right.
how do they put forth a blueprint for change? All of this infill, all of these proposals for public housing residents, and they do not have residents at the table. That's one of the biggest problems.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we are living there. I'm a Nycha resident. We're living there.
Right.
So why do you get to make decisions? I'll point to you. Like, you make
Right.
decisions for us. You're only here for a term. If you're the mayor, you're only
Right.
there for 4 years.
Right.
Unless you get real, and you got a whole team, and they're making all of these decisions.
Right.
They don't give a hoot about us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's
That's right.
pathetic.
Yeah, I think there's two problems. One is they didn't give the money they were supposed to. Like, they're the landlord, and they're supposed to make sure it's habitable. So it's their responsibility. So they didn't put the money in. So, and then instead of saying, okay, we're going to make up for the money we didn't put in, they say, okay, how are we going to use Nycha assets to pay for this? So basically, you have to pay for their mistake.
Right. That's
Well,
right.
it's been what,
right.
decades of mismanagement of
Yes,
funds.
exactly.
The fundings have decreased throughout
Right.
the years. But also, if you're looking at the Nycha portfolio, the buildings and the people that live there, Nycha can attract all types of incomes, right? I know they can't go really up, but they can attract more working class people and so forth if you beautify and keep it up. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because
Right.
the medium income is at a level, and everybody's medium is not everybody's medium. You know what I'm saying? So it's things that they can do, like how they did back in the day and how things were done, that they're not really doing no more. I mean, when you
Right.
move into a new apartment, you don't have what's those, the shades. You just go into bare apartments. They do the fixing up and everything. They don't even give shades anymore. They don't even give the rack. When I moved from one building to another, I had to take the rack down for the clothes rack.
Right.
I had to take that. I had to take the thing for my sink, the top part, because it wasn't one in there.
Wow.
I mean, it's just crazy. Like, they just.
Right. And then the second part is, this is your community, but you're getting no decision making on how your assets are going to be sold off, how they're going to make this plan. So,
Yeah.
number one is make sure that the residents, have a say in the plan and whether they want this in their neighborhood or not.
Well, I'm going to hit the chat room again and what we got going on. I just want to say, Lori Sternum, she says, Merry Christmas. Cece says, not only RAD, but are you against the poverty exploitation for our equity? And the other thing she said, which is interesting, she said, what are you going to do about us truly getting Section 3 established for our community? And I guess that's the question I'm asking.
Okay. Number one, our campaign is based off not only equal protection in law, but equal protection in resources. You can't have one without the other. So, we're based on affordable housing. We're based on living wage jobs. We're based on health care. Now, I will not be a politician who pretends to know about something that they don't know. So I'm not sure about Section 3, and I would have to find out before I could give you an answer to that question.
Hey, baby, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know everything, you know what I'm saying? But if I'm made aware of something, then you know what? And then it's worth me looking into. So
Yeah, I am here, so everyone knows how to contact me.
Oh, okay, yeah. Ravenswood Senior Center
Hiring, right?
Yeah.
Hiring
says, "Good
residents.
evening, all. Everyone, happy holidays." And that's Ravenswood Senior Center. Big shout out to y'all for tuning in.
Getting more people.
Yeah,
getting
that's
more
great. That's great. That's good to hear. Good to hear.
Word up.
So let me ask a question now. Policing is a big topic in our community. I know Queensbridge and Ravenswood, we had a lot of gunshots and gun violence over the summer. A lot of people got shot and killed, unfortunately. So what is your thoughts on the police? You know, I know the term defund the police is out there. So what is your views on that? What should we do?
Sure. I mean, I've taken the pledge, the Defund the Police pledge. You know,
okay.
I think, you know, that $5 billion is quite enough for our police force. And having that other $1 billion in education and healthcare will actually do more to bring down the crime. You know, we don't want just to catch more people. You know, we want people not committing the crime.
Right.
And if a lot of these crimes are crimes of poverty, you know, you invest in the community and you're going to bring it down. So yeah, we don't want to have more crime and have more people caught. We want more people with opportunity and not people
less crime.
That's
and
what
less crime.
That's what it's about.
Right. But I also do think that we do have to fundamentally change how we sort of recruit police officers.
Sure.
You know, much more extensive background checks on temperament. You know, weeding out racist. But also, you know, weeding out people who don't know how to do conflict resolution, who thinks, you know, to react in a violent way. As I said before, I lived in Japan, and it was the safest place I ever lived in my life. And the police there don't even have guns.
Yeah.
And you know, you
Wow.
feel, you know,
Say that again. That's amazing.
no guns, and they know how to handle a situation. And
Yeah, they deal with it immediately. I mean,
That is
I
amazing.
taught Japan, and it was absolutely. I mean, I barely remember even seeing police. Really, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just.
It works.
It was.
It works.
yes,
Yeah. So it is a proven formula that things can be resolved without guns. But I gotta shift that a little bit, because what you gotta understand is the United States itself is built on criminals, right? Criminals. That's straight up. That's what it was. England shipped over the criminals, right? So our core really is our foundation of our nation is actually criminal in its roots, right? So a couple of things that are not going to happen because of that. Guns are never going off the streets.
Right.
We're never going to stop making guns. And the reason why, not because it's criminal, but we're not going to make guns because guns is one of our biggest exports.
Right.
Right? We make a lot of money on guns. So that's never going to happen. Now, in terms of, and I like what you said, I like investing in roots of problems, right? Because if you kill the root, then you kill the tree.
Absolutely.
Right? So in investing in the children, the opportunities, right? Providing them, you know, opportunities, then guess what? You're going to bring the crime down. You know what I'm saying? Cops are always going to carry guns. There's no doubt about it. Just trust me when I tell you. That's how it's going to go down. Because there's a lot of criminals that spend a lot of money, which they get the guns. Let's just be clear. Back to the root. No matter where the gun comes from or who you buy from, the gun came from the United States. You know what I'm saying? It came from Remington, and it came from Smith & Wesson, and that's a big part of our gross natural our product, right? But if you stop a kid from picking up a gun in the first damn place, now we're talking. You know what I'm saying? He's educated. He travels, right? Kids don't travel no more. Kids don't go anywhere. Most kids haven't been out of their neighborhood.
They leave the block.
Off their block, right?
right?
You know, what changed my life was the fact that I traveled, right? As a kid, you know, my parents, and back then they did the school bus, the bus trips, and we went to D.C., and we went to Canada and all that stuff. And I saw other cultures early. You know what I'm saying? I'm 6, 7 years old, and we go to other places. That really changed my life. And statistically speaking, kids that travel tend not to do crime.
Right.
Because they see other things. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
You know.
I think you bring up an important thing also. It's seeing other cultures. Also, I mean, is one of the sort of the roots of our racist society. I mean, in New York, we have one of the most segregated school systems in the country.
That's right.
You know, and I always thought it was amazing because you see, like, the most racist places in America are the ones with only one race, right? You know, it's because they haven't had any experience to break it down. So all the lies can keep going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, let's start at the root. I mean, let's desegregate our system so we have our schools and not just racially, but also economically, you know, actually, we have a good example, the middle school over here in Long Island City, because it started and there wasn't, it was a sort of a new neighborhood. They took people from all different neighborhoods, and it's really racially and economically mixed, and the scores have gone way up. So now they're looking at that as a model on how to do new middle schools. I mean, of course, there will be a you know, that fight over zoning and, you know, who's in what school. But, you know, I think, you know, if you can stop it, if you can stop that racism from starting at the early age, you know, it's you know, you won half the battle.
Do you have a preference over public school systems and our charter school, like public charter school?
Right, and I've come out. I'm not against charter schools because you know that's up to your parents, and you know you want to put your kid there. But the one thing is, I'd say you can't take resources away from the public school system. You know, and that includes co-location too, because you know sometimes they put their charter school, you know, in your school, and then you're losing the space, and they're not paying the rent they should. So you know, if they want to do that and they can stand on their own, that's fine. But you know, it's my job to make the public school as good as the charter school. Okay. And so I want all the resources to do that. And I don't think a parent should have to put their kid in charter school to get a quality education. So I will be fighting so that they choose the public school.
Now, as a city council candidate, if you become the city council member, you'll be in charge of, or have the responsibility of appointing some members to the community board. How many, do you know how many, is it like one board you would be responsible for? Right, one board, right?
Mainly it's community board 2. It may have a slight overlap with community board 1.
Right? Okay, there's a possibility.
Yeah.
So are you familiar with like the diversity, like how your community board looks? Is it diverse? You know,
not as diverse as it should be. It's getting a little bit better. Although I'll tell you, one of the controversial positions I've taken is that I believe that community board should be elected. So right now it's a political appointment, either by the city council person or the Queensborough president. Yep. So the weird thing is the first thing I'm doing is trying to give myself less power. So
like elected.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if you're saying that you're a representative of the community, like I'm the community board, then you should back that up by being put in there by the community. And if it's public fair elections, I think it will become diverse on its own, because the people are coming out to vote for the people in their community.
I think different, because I looked at different applications, because I'm on the Manhattan Community Board, and our applications, no joke. Like, you have to write essays and all of that. And I'm not saying some is just a questionnaire.
Right.
So, maybe, I don't know if you maybe as a city council person for Queens, take a look at Manhattan's. If yours is not as rigorous, maybe, because if you see what we have to do for that, several pages,
Yeah, I mean, if we keep the system the way it is now, I mean, I'm a small D Democrat. I believe in the power of the people. They should decide who their representatives are. But it's the process is it's not transparent. There's no real decision on why the person was rejected. And it could be political favoritism. The city council, they're going to want people who are going to vote the way they want on the council. So the one thing I'm glad about is my. Because of the community that I'm hoping to represent and how diverse it is, we've already begun reaching out. So if you see my webpage, it is in Bengali, Spanish, Romanian, Turkish. Okay. So I'm doing my best to reach out to everyone.
So let me ask you this question. How do you think the land use models that we have now with Europe and all the rest of that, do you feel that they are engaging the community enough, or not so much?
The one thing that bothers me about ULIP is once it goes into ULIP, there's not a lot of chance to change it. So, they seem to reach out, but then there doesn't seem to be like a working process. So it shouldn't just be all, okay, here's the initial plan. Okay, well, here's our initial thoughts. And then I think it should be community involvement all the way down the line. Absolutely. And you should be able to change things. So there's, a number of things I believe, but, that it's too run by the real estate industry, but that's one of the things I'd like to get more community involvement and not have it set in stone as soon as it goes into ULIP.
Yeah, people need to start speaking out at the boards when those little proposals come up.
So let me ask you another. I know homelessness now is going to become a real big issue. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19 and people being evicted and all the rest of that. So what are your thoughts on how we can address the homeless issue in this district and in the city as a whole?
Sure. I am 100% opposed to de Blasio's fake affordable housing. I mean, I think it's just a program to have developers build higher. And then they put in these, tiers and pretend that they're giving out affordable housing.
Right.
And I think the median income to apply for most of the affordable housing is higher than the median income in Queens. So you're saying that the majority of people can't even apply to get these in some lottery if they're hopefully to get.
Yeah,
It's a broken system.
But it's mainly for me. It looks like just like a 20% discount for middle class people. It's not really helping the homeless. It's not helping the working poor. So I mean, I'd scrap the system totally. I'm looking at non-for-profit developers. I'm looking at community land trusts. I'm looking at repairing Nycha. The Big Six Towers actually in Woodside is a great example, and they actually have there's both ownership models and rental models.
I live across the street from them. Yeah.
It is well maintained, right?
Yeah, it is.
And that's another thing. Let's start moving people to home ownership.
Yeah.
If you own the home, you don't have a landlord, so they can't really raise your rent.
That's right. That's right.
So maybe installment sales, have people pay in. If they sell, they can't get more than they paid in with, but at least they can start building their equity. And if not, they have the rights of a homeowner.
Yeah. So Stan brought up homelessness. Now, in the city, there's a lot of vacant apartments that are just, in these wealthy buildings, just sitting there.
And they make money from that, but they profit from that.
They're sitting there. I mean, as a city council member, what could y'all do to try to rectify that? Because, we have a homeless crisis, and there's people on the street, but then there's apartments that are empty.
Right. Well, we can give a big incentive to not do that by hitting them with fines.
Okay.
So I tend to look at what worked in other places and other countries.
Yeah.
Actually, and this is more small business, but actually in London, they have a vacancy tax for street commercial properties. Okay. So basically, if you leave your business empty for more than 3 months, you get hit with a fine.
Okay.
So we could give us 3 months, 6 months, but anyway,
Use that model for
there should be no incentive for somebody to leave a place vacant.
Yeah.
Right? If they're offering it for market rate, it'll be going. If they're sitting on it for speculation, it won't.
Yeah.
But that's not something we want.
Yeah.
So, I think that there should be a penalty for leaving a place vacant. And there's a few other things. And the one thing I don't know is French, but I guess it's called the Pierre à terre tax.
Okay, I'm not.
Okay. There's a tax. We've been trying to. Well, we haven't. I haven't been on the council yet. But there's a proposal to tax people on their second residences. So people who claim residency outside New York, so they're not paying our taxes,
right,
but they have an apartment here. So but I'm saying if you have an apartment here, you're using the resources. If that apartment goes on fire, you're not calling the fire department in another country, are you? So, you want to use the resources here, you want to live here part of the time, start paying for part of the burden.
Yeah.
I think I have your video.
Yeah, let's go to that.
Is that your video?
Let's go to that.
I think I was able to get it going.
Let's go to that.
Let's go to the video. Let's see what's happening.
Solutions to new problems and ensure that the needs of every most diverse places in the world community are met. It's also a real neighborhood. We're facing a lot of challenges in the community for over 10 years together. Over that time, we've seen skyrocketing rents, overdevelopment, and the displacement of long-time residents. Native of Western Queens. Now the COVID-19 crisis has brought families to the brink of hunger because I love this community, and I will fight small for businesses each and every one struggling long before COVID are collapsing. My grandfather immigrated to Queens 80 years ago and settled here in Sunnyside in this house. When he grew up, he didn't actually know that he was poor, because when somebody needed help, the community rallied around and supported that person. Growing up, we were working class. The community was a lifeline, and now serving it has become a way of life.
He's just always involved. He is this community.
He's always been a leader in our neighborhood, and he's been helpful for both my family, personally, my business, and everybody around us.
When it really hit bad back in March, which is really a shock to the neighborhood, we had no food in the neighborhood. Without Brent stepping up, a lot of people would have gone hungry.
Brad cares about people with disability and making the community accessible.
He also sworn to not take money from corporate entities as well as real estate developers.
We want him to win because he's going to be a good guy for our neighborhood.
He's an honest person. He's been in the community. He will fight for Queensbridge. He will fight for this district.
It's not just you. You bring a whole group of volunteers with you.
I believe that the job of a city council member is to strengthen the community support systems that already exist, find pragmatic solutions to new problems, and ensure that the needs of everyone in our diverse community are met. We're facing a lot of challenges right now, but we're strongest together. I'm Brent O'Leary, community leader, attorney, and proud native of Western Queens. I'm running for City Council to represent District 26 because I love this community, and I will fight for each and every one of us.
Yeah, that looks great. Let me get that off the screen. Hold on. There you go. Man, that was really well shot. Excuse me, I was trying to, I had to develop that as I was going along, That's why we had a little sound thing that was happening in the beginning. But yeah, once again, bro.
The natural hand clap. That was nice. Yeah, that was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, apparently Ravenswood Senior Center, they said, Brent O'Leary, thanks a lot for all your support to our community. So there it is. It's right there. I'm so glad I was able to. Eleanor Bumpers.
Ooh.
What about healthcare and education?
Hey.
The teachers and
She's
staff
in the building. Thank you
and
for watching.
schools need money. That's what Eleanor Bumpers is talking about. And it's very nice to meet you, by the way.
Yes, thank you for tuning in.
CC says slew of. Okay, I guess she's working on the rest of that. Who else? What else happened in the chat room? Cabin fever, PTSD, and while a slew of other mental health issues are going on as we speak. So I guess we're talking about. It seems like we're talking about. Okay, Gary says it's a great ad. He says great ad.
Right.
Thank you, Eleanor Bumpers. Okay, so
we're gonna have on the show soon.
Yeah. What about the healthcare issue? What about in terms of mental health, PTSD, cabin fever? All these things are going on, right? People can't go out. What about the restaurants in your, Long Island City is known for its restaurants, right? What about the restaurants that are struggling in your community to stay open, during this COVID situation? Community to help those mom and pop shops that are there.
Yeah. Actually, I had a rally with the small business owners on Queens Boulevard and 43rd Street 3 days ago. So we came out there and we demanded a plan. And we said, listen, you've by government fiat told us we have to close, and that's for our community's health. Now you have to help us support us to get through the rest of the time.
Right.
They're still told they have to pay their rent. They're still told they have to pay their utilities. It's just ridiculous. So, we came out with 3 solid proposals, on different levels. So, we said one on city council level, pass the Small Business Job Survival Act. It has 28 sponsors. It already has enough to win if they just bring it to a vote. That actually gives small businesses a right to a 10-year lease and a right to renew that. So at least then they have some security, and then they can refinance, and that helps them get through. On the state level, which is not what I'm running for, but I've been backing State Senator Gianaris's bill, which asked for rent forgiveness. He had it for 90 days. I think we thought it was going to end that soon. But yeah, you can't tell a business you can't be in business to make your rent, but you have to pay your rent. Right. And
common sense.
Right. And everybody has to take a part in this. So yeah, the landlord's going to get less. The small businesses are going to get less, but they're taking the brunt. So on the state level, I think we need rent forgiveness. We'll work out if there's small landlords. We'll work with them and make sure that mom and pop landlords. And then on the federal level, which is where most of the money is, we need the Payroll Protection Act again, and we need unemployment checks.
Yeah, because we're getting creamed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As a small business owner, I know when it first happened, I own a CPR company out in Brooklyn.
Right.
And who was taking CPR during COVID? You know what I'm saying? Right. And my landlord is like stacking the rent. He's like, you owe another $1,200. You owe another. Next thing I know, I'm 7, 8, 9, 10 grand in the hole, and I'm like, I don't see 10 grand in business coming down the pipe.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm suffering from that. You know what I mean? That's why I'm sort of like curious. Like, and I did get a little bit of the stimulus thing that they did for small businesses, but it just wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? And I gave that all to them. I was like, hey, just take it.
And we wanted to let them know it's not just, I mean, of course, we care about the small business owner, but it's all their employees. It's all their employees' families. It's the vendors. It's the local economy. You know, this is a pandemic. This is when our government's supposed to step up and make sure. But if they don't, I think we're going to enter a rash of bankruptcies, which is going to have this ripple effect through our community.
So we're embarking on, at the end of the year, an eviction crisis if the moratorium isn't extended.
Yes.
Where do you see that at? Do you see, because there's loopholes in even in the one that was already in place. There haven't been evictions
I think we have
going
to.
forth.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have to put a ban on evictions and then have some kind of program to work it out. You know, you have to pay X percent of the rent before. Something where people.
Do you see
can,
that happening if they can't cancel the rent
with this leadership? Not too hopeful, but
what I think we have to do is we have to look at like how are other countries doing this,
right?
Because apparently they're doing it. You know, what I mean, they're shutting down the entire country.
Because there was one stimulus check that people received, and people are, everything has changed. Unemployment, people are reapplying, and people are struggling.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what I did notice is China shut the country down. Period. Point blank. Bomb. Now rumor has it that if you went outside, you got shot. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. I just heard the rumor. But they did shut the country down.
New Zealand did well.
Right, and New Zealand did it, right? So if they did it and beat COVID. Right. We don't hear any, COVID numbers in New Zealand or China. Then why can't we implement the same program? You know what I'm saying? If you eliminate this virus, I had to stay home for 6 months. It's like that's what it is. But we can work out how I get food and stuff. I'd be willing on doing that to get back to a normal life. This mask is killing me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Me not to give somebody a pound. Yo, what's up? Yo, you good? It's killing me. You know what I'm saying? Me worried about what I'm touching. Me worried about my children. That's killing me. So I'd rather suffer for 6 months knowing that, number one, my business will still be there when I get back. My rent is either subsidized by the government or it's postponed. And then when you get back, you're not looking at 6 months rent.
Right.
You're looking at where you start off from. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like the economy itself has to come to a complete halt where people are just isolated. And this is the discipline that we lack.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We want to run out, want to do stuff. Okay, COVID. More people have died from COVID in the United States than any war that we've ever had.
Almost 3,000 a day now. So
right. We're 317,000 people have died from COVID. So how do y'all not get this through your heads? That there's got to be something really drastic that takes place that does not have an economic impact on the people. Because that's the problem, right? That's where the issue is. Go ahead, Brett.
Oh, and just, I guess there was a question on healthcare.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. See, he's good. I
love this.
Mm-hmm. And there's certain things that are part of the capital markets, but there are certain things that a compassionate government provides. And for me, that's healthcare, food, and affordable housing. So I mean, we believe that healthcare is a right. We're the only industrialized country, I think, without a real single payer system. I've again been to these countries; it's worked well. So we have a model to follow. It's just, to be honest, it's the money in the system. It is the insurance companies know that they will make much less if they allow this to come in. So we spend more than any other country on healthcare, and we get a worse result. This was a little personal for me. My father went into the hospital before he passed. He had good insurance, and he was union. He was Local 3 electricians. He ended up being a mutual clerk at the racetrack, which is underneath that union. So I read the insurance, and it said he was covered. And then after a week, they said he's got to go home. And I said, well, he can't walk. He can't move. And they said, well, we only pay for it. It was $500 a day. $500 a day. My mom said I could put him in the Park Hilton for $500 a day. But anyway, they said we'll only pay for it if he goes to rehabilitation. I said, okay, he'll go to rehabilitation. Has he refused? They said, no, he's too sick to go to rehabilitation. Wow. I said, wow, you found this little loophole in his insurance. It's actually covered, But you're going to tell me you're not going to pay for it because you won't go to rehabilitation, but you won't bring him to rehabilitation because you're saying he's too sick. And they're like, yeah, that's right. So, I mean, that's the game that they play. And then they get you when you're at your weakest point, you know, when it's a loved one and you can't, you know, refuse. And then I have, you know, my mother is like, I'm going to go, you know, bankrupt because I have to take care of a loved one. And that's just like, not a situation, you know, that anybody should be in, especially.
I had to go through that.
Thank you.
This is a very interesting question. And once again, big shout out to Eleanor Bumpers, you know. And just so you understand, it's Eleanor Bumpers' granddaughter?
Great-granddaughter.
Great-granddaughter. Okay, so you understand, right?
She wasn't born.
Yeah.
Okay, at the time this had happened, and I got to tell you, your great-grandmother was very famous in the city, unfortunately, due to that incident. I was
1985.
I was like 17, 18 years old. I'm 54
I was 18.
now.
I had just turned 18.
And we thought that it was horrific, but she brought up something very interesting that I don't think anybody has even thought about. She said, what about kids in the system like foster care and group homes? There are a lot more kids there now due to their parents passing due to COVID. What happens to them? Sort of, what is that?
I haven't heard anything about that. That's a great question.
That's a great question.
You're so coming on the show.
Yeah, she's coming. She's coming.
Let me ask you this question. So the city's going to be in a big deficit. So do you agree with taxing billionaires and to raise some of the revenues that we're gonna need to survive?
Yeah, and I actually don't understand why. Well, I guess people don't want it to be known. We had the biggest economic expansions in our country under much higher tax rates on the rich. And I'm an old FDR Democrat, and you know, with high taxes on the rich, we went from the Depression to the best economy the world has ever seen. So yeah, I mean, trickle down economics is a scam. It always has been a scam. You know, you put money in the hands of working people and the middle class. That's what drives an economy. You know, you give it to the rich, they spend it in other countries.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I believe in progressive taxation. So we're going to have to tax our wealthier more, and you know, they should be able to. You know, to those who get more is due.
Right.
Right. And even like I think Clinton used to say, he would say, "Yeah, I made a lot. Tax me more." You know, you know, you should be thankful that you're.
Didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, you should be thankful if you're in that position. You know, make me rich. I'll pay more tax. I'll be happy to do it.
Why not?
But also, I think we need a higher corporate tax too. I mean, I think for years they've been pushing the corporate tax back on to the working people, which is the exact opposite way we should be doing. You know, we should go to work and get our paycheck, and then the corporation should figure out, what it does.
Yeah, corporations don't pay taxes. Yeah. That's just sort of like a traditional thing.
And rich people don't either. They're able to find the loopholes and not pay.
A lot of writing off, too.
And it doesn't matter if you're a small corporation or a big corporation. Those laws apply to you. If you are S corporation or it's just you, and you have, Stan Construction Corporation or whatever, or, you get the same benefits as General Motors. You know what I'm saying? You get the same loopholes. You know what I mean? So corporations traditionally, you're right. That law needs to be sort of rewritten a little bit, to try to even that out, because the taxes shouldn't be on the backs of working class.
And I was thinking we may actually have to have a tax on the federal level. I mean, it's still not the offer I'm running for, but to stay competitive. There's other countries that, exploit their workers, don't do the right environmental protections, and, they're going to be able to sell their products a little cheaper. So we have to say, if you're abusing the system that way, we're going to tax you when you come into the country. But that is something we would have to ask our federal people. But just thinking off the top of my head.
Well, gang, here it is. Well, we just got to the end of the show. We're at 5:04, and what I want to do, we can come back and talk, to close it up. But I want to play your video again, if you don't mind.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and thanks for having me here.
And also, before you do that, how can people donate to your campaign?
Oh, it's yes. So it's the website is www.O'Leary for Council, no apostrophe, so it's OLEARY FORCOUNCIL.com, and we really appreciate it. Any contribution from a New York City resident is matched 8-1. So we are totally grassroots and people-powered campaign, and most of our contributions are from small contributions across the neighborhood. So we really appreciate it. If you can, thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm going to run your commercial real quick.
I'll drop it in the chat.
Yep.
I love this community. It's one of the most diverse places in the world, and it's also a real neighborhood. I've been here serving the community for over 10 years. Over that time, we've seen skyrocketing rents, overdevelopment, and the displacement of longtime residents. Now the COVID-19 crisis has brought families to the brink of hunger and eviction. Small businesses, which were struggling long before COVID, are collapsing. My grandfather immigrated to Queens 80 years ago and settled here in Sunnyside in this house. When he grew up, he didn't actually know that he was poor, because when somebody needed help, the community rallied around and supported that person. Growing up, we were working class. The community was a lifeline, and now serving it has become a way of life.
He's just always involved. He is this community.
He's always been a leader in our neighborhood, and he's been helpful for both my family, personally, my business, and everybody around us.
When it really hit bad back in March, which is really a shock to the neighborhood, we had no food in the neighborhood. Without Brent stepping up, a lot of people would have gone hungry.
Brad cares about people with disability and making the community accessible.
He also sworn to not take money from corporate entities as well as real estate developers.
We want him to win because he's going to be a good guy for our neighborhood.
He's an honest person. He's been in the community. He will fight for Queensbridge. He will fight for this district.
It's not just you. You bring a whole group of volunteers with you.
I believe that the job of a city council member is to strengthen the community support systems that already exist, find pragmatic solutions to new problems, and ensure that the needs of everyone in our diverse community are met. We're facing a lot of challenges right now, but we're strongest together. I'm Brent O'Leary, community leader, attorney, and proud native of Western Queens. I'm running for City Council to represent District 26 because I love this community, and I will fight for each and every one of us.
Yeah, all right. So, whew. All right. So, you know what? I was glad to actually play it like in its entirety without all the rigmarole. Next week, what are we doing, Saundrea?
Okay, so let me just say for me, Homes ISIS Coalition, we will be hosting our very first toy giveaway from 2 to 5, and it's going to be phenomenal. So our next week's show is going to be very special. So it's going to be our last show, correct, of the year?
I think it's the day. Yeah, I think it's the day after Christmas too.
Right. So it's going to be a Nycha resident speak out.
Oh, okay.
So,
let's talk about it.
Yeah, so it will feature residents from Nycha. Email us at Nycha, you know how to spell Nycha.com. Nycha.com. You can also DM us on our social media platforms, and whoever isn't connected with Stan or me can also reach us directly. We're only going to be able to have 22 residents on. You will have 2 minutes to speak. It'll be via Zoom, and the 2 minutes will be 2 minutes. After the 2 minutes, you will be muted because we want to keep flowing so everybody can have a chance. So try to just stick to the 2 minutes so you don't get muted, and be respectful because you know somebody's coming behind you. But share what you need to share with us. And
so I'm gonna show you something. Keep talking, Saundrea.
Yeah, so share.
See, she's muted. You see that? I can do that. Okay, I can stop you. All right, there you go.
See, he showed you how it's done. So, we just want to be respectful for one another. So 2 minutes, and we're going to also look at who came on, and we'll be bringing some people back on eventually.
Yeah, Claudia said
as their own
and that show should be more than an hour. I think we should maybe do an hour and a half.
Yeah,
well, we're trying to. If we're going to. That's why we locking it at the 22.
Right.
That'll 22 people. And
but you know what? It's an end of the year wrap up, right? Yeah. And if it has to go a little longer, I think it should.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's the first time we're actually.
Thank you guys.
We want to hear the voices. No, we love it.
Thank you guys. I had this conversation, and here y'all go.
The voices of Nycha need to be heard.
Right, but
you know what I'm saying? And it's dope.
We did discuss how many we're going to
No,
100%.
Right? No, I'm not changing that.
Yeah, okay, right.
I'm just saying.
We run over anyway every now and then.
Yeah, we're going to run over. We're going to just run over a little something. I'm not going to be like, let's punch the clock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because this is the first time that we're going to have a group of Nycha people on.
That's powerful.
And you guys can voice what you want to talk about. Y'all been watching the show. You know what I'm saying? You've been supporting the show. Now we're inviting you to be on the show. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I'll also say it's an opportunity for us to organize together. You know, so we can get enough NYCHA residents from all around the city to talk. And then maybe after that, start figuring out how we can work together and really build this coalition out.
So tune in and be a part. We're only going to be able to take 22, so start reaching out.
Yeah, Claudia said she's in. She's like 2-hour show finale. Absolutely.
Yes.
She got to reach out. Reach out. You got to reach out, Claudia. Everybody's got to do it the right way. One NYCHA, ONENYCHA.com, ONENYCHA@gmail.com. That's our email, and you know how to DM us.
And then we can collect everything, get everybody straightened out, all right?
Send out the Zoom link. Yeah, everything.
And that's it, Stan. What are you doing this week? If
I'm going to be out there in Queensbridge on Christmas Day with Sugar Ray and Miles. DJ out there. We're going to give away some toys and really serve our community.
Christmas Day, that's
Christmas
nice.
Day.
Yeah.
What are you doing for Christmas, Brent?
Same thing. What's on the move? We're going to be giving out toys on 2:30 on Tuesday. And we have the food pantry going tomorrow. So just helping as I can.
I bet. And you know what?
They look comfortable, these two, right?
We y'all been just working together for years.
Yeah. Okay, District 26 in the house. All right.
And we'll see you next week at 4 o'clock. Be ready for the season finale show, which will probably go, no longer than 2 hours, but definitely not just an hour. All right, and I'll see you all next week.
Later.
All right. One NYCHA.
One NYCHA, one people.
One NYCHA.
One NYCHA, one people.